Yeah.
We act like law school is like some sort of silo that is untouchable. Like you cannot touch the way that you teach law. And that's just in the first week of law school. I hate to be like this, but like if you think that you're gonna change the world like by learning this stuff,
no,
that's not what law school is. Like this is the most disappointing, one of the most disappointing academic experiences of my life. And I went to Michigan. No, I'm kidding.
Dang.
Okay,
Hey,
I'm joking.
I'm looking at you, Mark.
I'm joking. I'm joking. You know, Michigan was interesting, but and I feel like undergrad, like if I could go back in time and tell myself anything, I'd be like, don't take this for granted. Like these engagements with race and class, and you know, the way that I learned public policy at the Ford School, I can never get that back.
Yeah, no.
And what I'm gonna learn in this law school class at WashU, it just feels so meaningless, like in comparison. Like I'm learning these abstract cases and these rules, and I'm still seeing, and I'm supposed to believe that these things are just implemented without regard to race or without regard to class or any of these, you know, different factors. And it's just like, you know, I didn't come here for that.
Right.
I know that this isn't real. You know, I'm Black, like, you know what I mean? It's like, this isn't real. Like, it's almost like law school is like gaslighting. Like, it's like them trying to tell you that things are a certain way. Because I asked the professor, I was like, why don't we have race in class? Like why don't we talk about race in the cases? Why is there no race in the casebook? He's like, we'll talk about it when we get to it and it's relevant. I'm like, when is it not relevant?
Always relevant.
It's always relevant. It's so exhausting to even think about. It's just.
It is. And like that's, and I think in law school, if you want that, you have to supplement it. And I think, I don't know. I don't really like that because one, I'm not used to having to supplement it. Like you take a political science class or you take a African studies class, and it's like kind of right there in your face.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about it, even if it's, you know, survey research, you're talking about how different groups or different demographics respond to surveys. But in the law, it seems like, at least in this first semester, you don't have choice. So you're like, because it's like you're going to take these 6 doctrinal classes, professional responsibility, and like legal research and writing, and that's going to be it. But you have to find your own opportunities to supplement your legal education. If that's getting involved with student orgs that are focused on making sure that those conversations of race, gender, or class are in the classroom. If that's external organizations like Law for Black Lives, if that's, you know, going to these seminars or these like lunch talks, it's frustrating because it's just like you already have to do all this reading and make time for yourself. So it's like, okay, what trades off? Maybe it's like you want someone to talk about race and how that interacts with the law and what you're learning.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, I could use my lunch period instead to get ahead on my readings for the week. So it's that choice. The choice doesn't feel fair.
Oh no, and I don't even think it's necessarily a choice because it seems like more of an obligation.
Yeah.
And it's more like you're obligated to focus more on your studies, which are, for all intents and purposes, you know, devoid of any conversation of race. And you know, the fact that you said you have to supplement your own career and your own endeavor, like if you want to talk about race, you have to do that yourself. Like it's busted. It's just it's disgusting to me that, you know, this professor came the other day. I think he works at U Chicago or something. He doesn't work at WashU. but he said, you're, and I keep hearing this thing over and over and over again in law school. It's like, when you go out into the world, you're going to try and make the world a better place. And you're going to try and, make new laws that, help to serve our republic. And I just think to myself, like, do you really think people here think that? Or do you just say that to us to make us like, because I don't believe that. I don't think for a
I think
second.
some of them do, because I think a lot of people are like, yeah, money's fake. I learned that in econ in high school. It's all a fiat currency, but I don't think that people understand the law is the same. Law's fake. Is written by people is
It
written by
is
white
fake.
people.
Yeah.
They were just like, hey, these are going to be the rules according to, they throw some theology in there sometimes, or it's like, oh, we thought that this was the best decision for equity or justice. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you think about precedent, and a they are not in a hurry to set new precedent.
No, they
Um,
aren't. And people say things like, "Oh, well, when there's a constitutional convention," I'm like, "When the fuck is there going to be a
when was the last
constitutional
one?
convention? When was the last one? We can't even get the fucking Equal Rights Amendment passed. Are you stupid? Like, do you really think that there's going to be a constitutional convention to add anything to the Constitution? Really? You think that that's
They're
going to
not doing
happen?
it.
Like, are you dumb? Like, what do you think is happening? Like, no, this is not going to happen. And like, people are just so not realistic. It's just like, what is the reason? What was the reason?
I think it's interesting because I think like high school me and I'd say like the first half of college me was like, oh, like, yeah, we can change the law. Like that's like the laws, that's your levers of power. So you go be a policymaker and you change policy,
Mm-hmm.
or you go into law, so you kind of know how the game works. Um, and then like you slowly, whether it's through life experiences or reading or classes that you're taking, you're just like, hey, it's it's bigger than me. It's bigger than a statute, an opinion. It's because you're dealing with you got racial capitalism. It's what you're dealing with. That's the field that we're operating on. So it's like, we if we're setting rules under that framework of that ideology, then hey, shit's kind of fixed. So
Oh, it
I think
is.
when you come to law school, it's like you're learning how to play the game, and you're learning the rules of the game, and how to be persuasive, or how to argue things so that you're taken seriously. People see you as a professional in this profession. Um, but I don't think most of the law is not interested in, I think, the things that we might be interested in. So that's changing how we think about punishment. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and for those of you who are like, oh, say some law school things, you have this thing in the field of torts. Um, I don't even know what torts is. Torts is like accidents, personal injury, stuff like that. You have this thing in the field of torts called punitive damages, where a plaintiff, if they win, if they win, their case, the judge can give them punitive damages. So that's saying to the defendant, hey, what you did was so bad, you
You
got to
gotta,
come out of pocket
yeah,
and pay the plaintiff. Um, the plaintiff may have already been compensated for whatever happened. So, let's say it was reading a case today about police officers breaking up a party.
mm-hmm.
The court may say, okay, you may have broken somebody's leg. You got to pay for that. That's one thing, but it's another thing to be like punitive damages. But if you're somebody who's like, well, what's the purpose of punishment? Why do we punish people? Or if you're somebody that's like, we should really, deal with capitalism. Um, it's so exploitative. It can be very
Mm-hmm.
disturbing or jarring when you get into the law and you're just like, wait a minute, I'm I'm in this state of mind, I'm in this framework, these are things I'm interested in, but these are the things I'm learning, and it feels limited. So like I think, we grew up and we're like, oh, I want to be a lawyer, I want to change the world, because we have this idea that the law is the way to do that. But I think you do a little bit of reading, you watch some videos,
and it's not.
It's not.
Nope. And like it's truly, I wish that somebody would have had this conversation like earlier, so I could have seen, this isn't what you think it is. Like, and I think that, I knew that there were going to be problems like in the legal profession more broadly, because I came from big law. Like I worked for 2 years before I went to law school, and I worked in big law. And I knew that, like, law is not the way. And I wrote in my personal statement, I hate the law. I said literally verbatim, I hate the law. Law is a weapon and a mechanism to kill, incarcerate, and marginalize populations. And that's what it is.
That's a bar.
But I wrote that verbatim in my statement. Like, I'm not gonna show up to, and like that's why I feel like, in a way, I'm not really scared of anything, like of anyone watching this, because Watch You knew who I was coming in.
They knew what the deal was.
They knew what the deal was. Like, and like if they had read any of my articles in the Daily, if they had done any cursory glance at my resume, they'd be like, "Oh, like, she probably gonna give us trouble." Like, honestly, but like they probably knew. And like the thing is that like I'm running against so many of my I'm running up against so many of my classmates who I don't think, they might be cursorily, like on a cursory level or like on a topical level, aware of these types of conversations. But I think that there are a lot more people who are willfully ignorant of the realities of law than I would like to see in law school. Like there are a lot of people who say things like, oh, well, like I'm going to go work for big law for 5 or 6 years, and then I'm going to go make a difference in the public sector. And it's like,
doing what? What does that mean?
What does that even mean? Like, what does that mean? Like, if you want to make money, just say that and be honest about it.
You got to be real about it.
Be real about it. Like, if I want to go summer at a big law firm, you want to make money and help rich people make money and do that for something. Like, just be honest. Be honest with yourself and with other people, because this whole like, oh, well, I could really end up being like a public defender after I do big law and pay off my, stop that.
Let me stop you right there. You're not making that career change.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Like you're not doing it. Like once you start making that money and you see those checks rolling in, you're not going to do it. And that's okay, for Black people. I understand, like Black people have been denied of wealth for a very long time. I get it. You want to get yours too, but be honest.
The new Forex.
Oh yeah. Oh God, what is there's a whole separate.
We're in law school, not business school. Hey.
Oh yeah, those people. That's just the whole thing. I'm just so disheartened by like this whole experience. It's like, it's not what I thought it was. It's the people are not who I thought they were. Granted, I have some great professors and brilliant minds that are here, but like, there's no change coming from this. The real change is coming from the people out there.